Hey everybody, hey look at that, the cameras even work. We got audio, we got cameras, we got everything going on here. We almost look like we know what we're doing. Almost. We don't actually know what we're doing. We've just been, we haven't even prepared. We've literally just been playing Doom.
That is prepared.
Doom came out and we were like, yeah, let's do that instead of anything else in existence right now.
Pseudo's been preparing. Pseudo has been doing the preparing for us. He's been like watching videos on the engine.
He sure has. He sure has. Stuff. Wait, who's the third person? Do you have someone guest starring as Pseudo? What, have you not seen Pseudo with his cam on there, Mr. Glencon?
I am in a different location this time, though. I have moved from the downtown area to the outskirts of downtown for the time being.
Probably a good idea.
I have a green screen. My lovely living room behind me.
Yeah, it's okay. None of us are. Well, Rage is rocking a green screen, but the rest of us don't care about the green screen right now. You can see that lovely emptiness out behind me. There are some cars in that parking lot back there, but don't worry, those cars are supposed to be there. That's the RCMP office, and they're still working.
They have stuff to do.
Yeah, turns out their service is considered vital.
No kidding.
So, good day, everybody. Happy Saturday and happy Doom! Yes.
Day.
Doom Day. Have you gotten to play Doom? Has everybody gotten a chance to check it out? Or were you basically just watching me geek out on it for, I think my stream was 15 hours yesterday. Playing Doom. Straight. No breaks. I think I took like a little break without even turning off the game to just like eat food. I turned off my camera while talking to people and then just right back into the game the second the food was done. We got to see a couple very cool bosses. We've got some cool tech to talk about. We've got a lot of game design to talk about. 24-hour stream next time. Sure. I'll tell you what. We'll do a subathon. And you can try to keep me going for 24 hours. I'm good with this idea.
Add 5 minutes every sub.
Yep.
Every $5 worth of bids.
Yep.
Bids?
Bits. Yep. Bits. Yep. I'm good with that. There's even bots that have that built into them already that I can just turn it on. Subathon, go. That's how you're going to get me to do 24 hours. So I have one quick question for you two guys. Because we don't just have positive things to say. For all you Doom fans, this is not going to be 2 hours of sucking Doom's dick. That is not what you're going to expect here. So do we want to start with the good or the bad? And do we want to end with the good or the bad?
Well, I mean, why don't we just do what we normally do? Why don't we just start at the bottom and work our way up?
Well, this isn't just a review of it either, right?
Oh, it is. But when we bring up any of our subcategories,
we'll be able to talk for a long time.
For an hour.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Start with the bad. All right. Well, actually, the bad's not going to be. The bad's not going to be for a little while. Looking at the list, if we're starting at the bottom. Okay, let's just dig in then. World building.
It's the. See, this is one of the... Okay, so we're just launching right into the things that bothered me.
Yep.
We basically ignore the first game.
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
Well, I mean, it's all still there. It did all happen.
Did it, though?
Yeah.
Is there anything in this game that makes you think, yes, all of that stuff on Mars definitely happened?
Definitely no, but there's nothing that tells me it didn't happen either.
But there's nothing that tells you that it did.
Which is
can completely ignore the first game.
You know, we can. You know, the key is still in the same sort of labs, and they're holding the same bits, and we're going into the same companies, and we've got the destroyed, half-broken AI guy from the first game that we beat up that we're dragging around with us, and we've recovered his body. So there's definitely some links and some hints and references to the first game, but I mean, it is a Doom game, though. It's not story driven. It's not world building centric.
What happened after you get sent back to hell when Samuel Hayden takes the crucible from you, and then the start of this game?
Yeah, no
There's
idea
just
yet.
like, I don't know. I guess stuff happened.
Maybe there was something to explain Doom Guy being missing, and we'll find out later. And there's some big amount of story little thing happened in there that they're holding on, but I doubt it. Straight up, I kind of doubt that. But like I said, it's Doom. But as for the actual world itself, like, this storyline, maybe we can look at the previous game, but world building, I'm actually pretty happy with what they've done. I've gotten a pretty good idea of what the world looks like for Earth in this one. We've had a few levels where we're actually on Earth and going to the Super Gore Nest, for example, and seeing what the infestation looks like on Earth. We go into the citadels that are wandering around, which had a beautiful aesthetic, which we can go into later, which totally reminded me of classic Doom. But that gives you a good feel. They have the story of the priest summoning things. There's definitely something going on. I mean, I'm going to say that world building is more than I expected from a Doom game. Whether or not it's a good thing in the long run for the game is hard to say. But I did get more about the world than I expected.
I think that's a fair statement. They do give you a lot of context. A lot of it is just like super duper campy, which is kind of, you either like it or you don't. And coming out of Doom 2016 just recently and going straight into the camp of Doom Eternal was kind of jarring.
I'm a big camp fan at the same time, so that I could lean towards that side. I just think it fits well in a Doom game.
Yeah, it took me a couple of levels to get past it. But once I did, I've really, really been enjoying it.
I mean, they even, and we'll talk more. Actually, we can bring it up right now. I mean, they even have the level where you're like on your Fortress of Doom and preparing levels, and they turned that all into a level, and that's a fucking terrible idea. But it does add a lot of world building to it. I mean, it's one of my least favorite parts about the entire game. Just remove that entire thing and give me a menu to choose my level, and I'm fucking happy, so I'm not wasting time running all over this fucking empty ship looking for stupid little power-ups that I don't give a shit about, when I could be back in the level and the power-ups could be hidden in the level. Yeah.
Or you could just be shooting things.
Yeah.
Because as it turns out, in Doom, shooting things is really fun.
It's almost like the game was designed to let you shoot things or something.
But anyway, world building. I would say, like...
Oh, okay. The AI being the voice in your ship at the beginning also ties it to the original one. You are right, Glenn.
Yeah, but like, there's no explanation of that. You never find out why Doom Guy has Vega in the ship.
You never even find out why Doom Guy has Doom Fortress.
Yeah.
We do? Did you learn it from...
You backed him up.
Yeah.
But you never figure out why you had the ship. You never figure out how Vega integrated into it. You never figured out why Vega can integrate into it.
Yeah.
You know that you save Vega in the first game.
Yeah, we know that Vega is in a disc in our pocket. Somehow. That's a hell of a disc, let me add. It also backed him up in like 0.5 of a second, 1 second, something like that. It's just like, boop, done. I was like, I want those transfers.
Give me that bus. I don't know what bus that is. If I need to like summon demons to get that bus speed, I'll do it.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a demon outbreak, but look at these transfer speeds. So, Pseudo, from what you've watched of it, I don't think you've gotten to play much, but what do you think of the world building?
I like it. It's very still Doomish, where it doesn't force you into like, it doesn't force you to digest a lot of stuff if you don't want to. So it's kind of up to you if you want to like look around and pay attention to what the hell's going on. But if you want to just run through it, yeah, the ship was a weird change of pace, and I'm like, okay, where am I? And then I had a nitpicking thing where the shard of the arc thing was highlighted, and me being the dumbass I am was smacking it for a good like a minute or so before realizing that I was supposed to grab the gun first. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging out, chilling. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Not
that's
used to it. Like I guess it's I get it, but it's also just like a weird like you're so used to just like the nonstop action, and all of a sudden you're breathing, and you're like, is this? I guess this is just level select, but sure. Most because like traditionally all Doom games you just go like sequence to level to level to level. And I guess I wanted some way to choose, but I feel like it didn't have to be like. I feel like everything you should do in the ship should be able to be done from the cockpit and not have to go around too much if you don't want to.
I agree.
Or like force that stuff. It should just be like a oh, if someone wants to dive into lore, we can put some like codex or terminals or something around. But if they want to just start shooting shit, then they can start shooting some shit and then keep going on, or even like put something to shoot at in the ship would be nice if you want to like try stuff or like sample things, or that could have been nice. I'm not sure if that
There is
shows up later or not, but
a free arena in the ship.
yeah,
It's just really annoying to get to.
yeah, if everything was like centralized, like a ship should be where everything is like triggerable, accessible from the cockpit, then that'd be better. But
why do we need to spend so long running around? Why can't we just have a menu to choose what we want to do in the ship and like hit a button? That's my biggest complaint about the game. Really, is that ship.
But I'm really enjoying the Earth aesthetic. I'm really enjoying everything that's happening in there. Yeah. All the fucking massive like mech soldier things that are just laying around, just dead, and I'm like, oh man, what's going on here? I'm kind of curious. Hopefully, I find out later.
Yes,
restoring all that stuff it's been I've really liked that so far. I've only played the first 2 levels, but to start the third, so I don't really know what the hell's going on. All I know is typical Doom fashion. I'm just big boy killing big demons.
I've killed 2 bosses. I have my entire arsenal. I'm getting towards the end of the game, and I know as much as you do. I'm just shooting things. I'm Doom guy. I've got an arsenal, and there's a lot of dead demons behind me.
There is more explanation later on, but you do have to like slow down and listen to all the voice lines and like try and actually piece together what they're trying to tell you. Yeah, which I do like.
Yeah, I like that there's good story put in that you can pay attention to if you want to. That's how Doom should be.
But there is a lot more explanation and exposition given. Just a bit after where you are, Deus.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Like I said, I've been playing up until we started the call for the show, and there is more exposition that happens. You do learn more about the world, but it's still like very much a corny Doom story, which in no way is a bad thing.
No, it's a Doom story. It's what it should be. If they came out and tried to make it too serious and deep and, explain everything, then, like at the very beginning as the story, I was like, oh, are they going to say Doom Guy's an angel? Is that where we're going with all this? Is this going to become like a Diablo story? And I was kind of worried. It would do that.
They tell you some things.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But on the note of the world building, I guess we should actually put something in here. I think it is actually good world building. I personally feel it's been good. I have my complaints, but I don't think the ship makes for bad world building. That's probably going to come up somewhere else.
No, but there's just a lot of unexplained shit.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't really know too much about the world right now. I mean, it looks pretty and cool, but like I like it, but it's also like compared to other titles that I would give good world building to, where there is actually like a world I'm experiencing and I'm enveloped in and I really care what the hell's going on. I do like what Doom has, but so far I'm just like I'm Doom guy and I'm here to kill shit. And it doesn't really feel like it was their main focus as well. So like I understand why that way. And it's not a knock against the game on a total, but I think at least on world building it's okay. They did what they think they set out to do, which is a good job on it. But I don't think it's like a fantastic strong suit of the game.
I'm very much in the same boat as Pseudo here. I very much think it does deserve an okay. It is not bad, but it's also not what I would call good.
Not fleshed out enough for you?
No, there's a lot of holes.
Okay. To me, I don't think it needs to be everything fully explained to be good. but I can see where you're coming from for sure. What I'm looking at in my view is, I do like the look, the style, the aesthetic. I am learning about the world. I do have a feel like I instantly get the feel in any of the levels that, yeah, some seriously huge battles have gone on here. There's been some major shit going on, and humans have fucking lost.
Which is another thing that annoys me, because I want to play those battles.
Yeah.
I want to kill the big things.
And that's fair. That's fair. Hopefully we'll get to fight some of those big things later. The game that always comes to mind whenever people are like, yeah, I wish I could have done the events that led up to this game. That would have been way more fun, is Fallout.
Yep.
Specifically Fallout 4. Like, if you played as your father in that game would have been so interesting. You get to make all these weird decisions that affect the entire planet instead of just following in your father's footsteps and finding out what decisions he made. That's what the game ended up being. Oh, my dad did this, huh? What do I get to do? Oh, I don't get to do anything. Just go keep looking for your dad, huh? Oh, okay.
Okay. I think you mean Fallout 3. Fallout 4, you play as a dad. But yeah,
Fallout 4 is Dad Simulator.
Okay.
Yeah, Fallout 3 is the one with the scientist dad, and you spend the whole game finding him, and then you find him, and then it's like, lol, JK, and now also the game is over.
So it's your son that made the robot army in 4?
Yeah, that's your son. He gets
I
taken
thought it was
away.
Your father. Well, those games just blur together so much. I'm not sure.
I also love how there's no urgency at all. It's like you get outside and they're like, "Oh yeah, you should probably go do that," but also help this dude with a cool hat, and also get a dog. And oh yeah, you have a son. I'm like, yeah, that was 2 years ago. Shit, I should probably
Alternately, just kill the guy with the cool hat for his cool hat.
I don't think you can die, which sucks. That's the one thing I miss about Vegas. Fallout New Vegas, you're like, I want this person to die, and they die, and you're like, nice, cool.
That's what Fallout 1 and 2 were like too. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you guys fill it out then, and I'm okay with an okay. I mean, it's not focused on the world building. It's definitely not its strength or its forte. I just got a great feeling from it.
So Pseudo,
other than the ship, but I don't think the ship counts as world building, does it? Are we including the ship under the world building review?
It's part of the world, technically. It's part of the atmosphere that you're in. That's
because as a world building piece, it was pretty good. It did get a feel of what's going on and where you are, but as a gameplay mechanic, it is completely counter to everything the game stands for.
How do you spell satisfactorily? Oh, we gotta format the thing. Text wrapping, wrap.
Thanks, GlenCon.
Satisfactorily. I just typoed factorily. There we go.
Well, at least you didn't typo Factorio.
Satisfactorio.
That is what that game is. That game is Satisfactorio.
That's when you actually get everything fully automated and it just feels amazing.
When you can just sit there and watch your rockets build.
Satisfactory sounds like exactly the kind of game that Deus would want to play.
There's a new Factorio style game coming out that Pseudo showed me that is multiplayer and 3D.
Ooh.
And you can build these transport tubes that suck you from point to point and stuff like that. Looks amazing. So characters, I guess, then?
Sure. We can talk about characters. The first thing I want to say about characters is there's a weirdly large amount of them.
Yeah.
And I am so glad that Doom Guy doesn't say a word. If he said anything at any point, I would have been so mad.
I mean, the closest thing Doom Guy should ever get to a response is a punch. Period. Hey, Doom Guy, you should do this. That's his response. That is a Doom Guy response.
Just straight up blood punch. Also, can we talk about how amazingly cheesy all of the names for everything is? And I love it.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's an homage to 70s horror movies.
I mean, you have an ability called Blood Punch, where you punch out all their blood and it turns into health.
It makes a lovely, lovely sploosh as well. Oh, hey. I can do this.
And then there's what? There's 1, 2, 3, and a bit characters.
Happy 420?
420. There's 3 and a bit characters. 4 and a bit characters.
Mm-hmm. 4 and a bit.
They're all like fine.
Yeah, they're unoffensive. I'd honestly say the characters are perfect for Doom story delivery.
The Doom guy kind of carries us really hard, even though he doesn't actually do anything. Just how he is just a fantastic as a character. Just the Slayer. What does he do?
He slays. It's what he do.
Honestly, I'm kind of liking the whole building of the story of the Doom Slayer.
It is nice to finally know what the hell's going on, rather than just the assumptions everyone makes of what this thing is.
I'm a little torn on it, if I'm honest. I liked that you didn't really know anything about the Doomslayer. But the flip side of that is I actually do really like having that explanation as well. It's just so satisfying to the lore nerd in me.
It's time. It's time for Doom Guy to have some semblance of a backstory. He's been around for long enough. He has basically written his own story with the number of games he's been in. It's time for a bit of lore. And they didn't go crazy over. They just gave us enough lore to taste it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. At least he's still Doomslayer. Like, at least they didn't name him, because I feel like that can go bad, you know. All of a sudden they give him a name like Bob Jones or something, and it just doesn't have the same feel anymore, rather than just Doomslayer.
Doug Bradshaw.
No offense to anyone named Bob Jones out there.
I had a neighbor named John Smith.
That is a name.
He was a truck driver for Mohawk. He drove a rusted out Ford pickup truck. And he was a hockey coach and an alcoholic.
That is like as stereotypical as you can get.
He named his son Evan Smith, and Evan was his mother's language for John.
GlenCon brings up an interesting point, is that the Doomslayer had a wisp of a shadow of a backstory in the first one. I assume you mean 2016, as opposed to like the original Doom one, because he certainly didn't have any story in that. How so?
Yeah, I don't really remember a backstory at all.
Because, like, I guess the fact that Samuel Hayden just kind of like finds you in that crypt and wakes you up is about as much backstory as you get.
And that alone tells you that you're probably not human. There are not too many humans that can be woken up from a crypt.
A crypt in the like the 7th layer of hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you, for whatever reason, you were in that sarcophagus in hell. Hayden rescued you from there. Yeah. Phrasing that was just only just barely a backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. You can. It's not a given backstory, but there is some inference of a backstory there.
Yeah, and personally, I really liked that. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, well, I mean, the soulsy in you is always going to love that, right?
Yeah, just give me that hint. Get me interested in it.
Yeah, just tell me there might be a story somewhere for me to find, and then let me go find it. That's a little less. That's what I want. I don't. I've grown to like the force-fed here you go stories less and less. And that's not saying they're bad or we shouldn't use them. It's just after getting that taste of the Souls story style, I was hooked. Hidetaka does story just fucking different. And everybody always talks about how difficult those games are, and no one ever talks about why they're so popular. The story and level design.
Yep.
They're just so good, the difficulty is worth getting through.
Well, that and the difficulty is very similar to Doom Eternal.
Yeah, I'd say.
It's like, yeah, if you wanna experience more of the game, you're just gonna have to get better at it.
Doom has a easier setting too, though. But yeah, no.
And it has the ability to like prompt you to use cheat codes, which I like the inclusion of. And I like that you don't have to like specifically opt out of them, you opt into them.
Yep. And I like that the Slayer gates are disabled if you use a cheat code.
Yeah.
That's the Slayer gates are totally the here you go, Soulsies, have something along your lines.
Yeah, if you want to beat the Slayer gates, you're gonna have to work for it.
I've got one gate left, I think, to do. I gotta go back to.
Oh, did you just skip that second one?
No, I did the second one. I just missed
you?
one. I missed like the fifth one.
Ah.
It's not that I didn't do it. I just ended up past that area and I was like, crap, I can't go back. Okay, I'll just quick travel back when I get to the end of the level. Crap, I ended the level.
Yeah, I know that feel. It's I think that one's actually fairly easy.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure some of the we'll get to that when we get to. We have lots to talk about when we get to mechanics. So let's get this done for these ones. The characters are okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, I'd say they're good for what they went for.
I have no like great praise to sing about the characters, but they're good enough for a Doom game. They provide the story that you need. They provide the context that you need. They're fine.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
And storyline. Do we really have anything to say about the storyline? There is one. More than normal.
So the fact that they just like ignore the ending of the first game, I'm still mad about. Because I thought that was a really cool ending, and like I really wanted to experience whatever happened after that.
You would have liked this game to start closer to the end of the first one.
I would have liked it to be like a direct sequel.
I'm pretty sure it is a direct sequel with the inclusion of the same characters in the same states, but it does seem to be farther along down the timeline where more stuff has happened in between.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a direct as in like
immediately after.
The game ended in the first one, and then you start the second one, and that's where it picks up, rather than some amount of time has passed.
These are just in general in a global scale what we would expect. Like, in order for something to get a good, it has to be almost special, you know? Do things either flawlessly, like perfectly delivered, or going above and beyond the average game's delivery. Right? A bad is it does not meet standard expectations for a playable game, and an okay is, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yep. Okay it was fine.
It was fun.
Totally serviceable.
It was good. Yeah. And in that, a bad in this system is not a negative to the game. It just might not be something that game focused on. And when you read the review of that game, you could easily say, this is the area that got the bad, and this is why they gave it a bad. And that, to me, isn't super important in games. So I might even like this game a lot.
Yeah, like, say, somebody who's really into a narratively driven platformer, for instance. Just, Ori and the Blind Forest came to mind.
It's a good example.
That may get a bad in, say, like, not Ori specifically, because Ori was actually amazing at this, but it may get a bad in mechanics or an okay in mechanics, just because there's not that much that goes on. But that's totally fine, because, say, if you're a person who's really into that, you look at storyline, world building, and characters, those are all good. And you go, you know what? I want to experience this for the story. So then you can go pick it up and try it, and you'll probably like it.
Yeah. The entire review system that we've been trying to build here is built around the basis that there's no such thing as a good or bad game. People like different parts of games, so we just try to give an as honest a take on that section of the game as possible. All right. And storyline, I'd say, is okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say okay. I feel like there's more wrapping up going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't seen the whole thing, but
But
storyline isn't a finale. That's a point in the story, right?
Yeah, I would say based on the delivery up until this point, I couldn't give it a good, even if it was like this amazing finale that wrapped everything up and explained all the plot holes and everything.
Honestly, I wouldn't want it to be a good. I honestly think if I was giving it a good in storyline, that they would be spending so much time with story that I would be shooting less and it would not be as good of a game.
Potentially.
Unless they found some way to make the story delivery loud enough that it's on top of my ripping and tearing of demons, at which point I think I'd rather have the soundtrack and the ripping and tearing of demons. Because Mick Gordon is a fucking genius.
Yes. But I would say that something like Dark Souls definitely has a good storyline.
Yes.
It is definitely good.
Absolutely.
I would say everything under writing is good in Dark Souls.
I agree.
But it's not forced on you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go look for it. And I think that there is a balance to be struck there, where you can have a game that is very much mechanically focused, like the Soulsborne series, but also has good storyline characters and world building. There's
a key difference between these games, and that's that Dark Souls is a slow game, and Doom is not.
Decidedly.
Doom is such a fast-paced action game that you don't have time to deliver story without slowing down the game.
Yeah, except when in your ship.
Exactly. That's why I hate the ship. They threw me into the ship, and my first thought was, the shit is this? I don't know what I'm doing. There's nothing to punch. There's nothing to shoot. What do you expect Doom Guy to do here? Those are the only two things. He doesn't even talk. He punches and he shoots. Why am I alone in a ship? Give me a menu, load the level. We're good to go. Hey, you got some batteries. Use 2 batteries to unlock this. Click. Done. And you don't have to spend all that time building and texturing and debugging a fucking ship for me to interact with. Just give me a 2D UI and let me go. It would have been a better game and you would have saved money in your development. Yeah, I'm going to rant about this often.
And just one more thing to rag on as far as writing in general. Vega is so naggy. He nags so much.
Doom Guy.
And then like the same thing with Samuel Hayden later in the game. Just super fucking naggy.
I'm fine with that. I really am.
Just shut up, let me kill things.
I mean, they're not stopping you from killing things. They're just like nagging you while you're killing things, and that's funny. I love humor. I have a great humor. I love humor, especially in my gore. Humor and gore are just two things that go so well together.
I agree. I didn't find it funny. I just found it annoying.
And that's going to be the way with some people. Not everybody's going to find everything funny. It's I like it, but I have a terrible sense of humor, so.
So yeah, the storyline I would say overall okay.
Yeah.
It has its share of plot holes. It has its share of just weird shit happening, but overall it's fine. Like the it suits the game well enough.
It definitely doesn't detract away from the experience at all.
Yeah.
It's there. It doesn't get in the way of anything. It'd be annoying if there was, a bunch of weird shit going on that they make you pay attention to that you don't care at least. So I'm glad that it is okay. They probably what they're going for again. And usually these games aren't too story driven, more rip and tear.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of explaining the good, okay, bad. I want to explain it one more time just because that's come into my mind when you said that. So the best way to think about it is if it's an okay, it's this delivers the game. If it's good, it's this improves the game. And if it's bad, it's this detracts from the game. This gets in the way of the game. Like The Last Guardian. Control is a bad.
Controls in Last Guardian. Oh man.
Performance.
Oh boy.
Fucking amazing.
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Go Pseudo.
Yeah, you just put that to good right out of the gate. Oh my god. Yeah. Not sure if anyone's looked at id Tech 7 and all, but holy shit, they're doing some cool stuff. Just for reference, I'm gonna pull my notes up quickly before I just talk out of my. Because there's a
When
lot of
Pseudo's
stuff.
pulling up notes, this is about to get detailed. So yeah,
I'll try to keep it basic.
prepared. If you're on YouTube watching this, prepare to pause and take some notes. And if you're watching this live, then prepare to go back to the VOD.
Good luck.
as basic and not try to dive too technical. So I'll make sure I get my numbers right. But yeah, so there's scenes now for levels and stuff I'm sure you guys have noticed are a lot larger than Doom 2016's by like a huge magnitude.
Yeah.
They support 8 to 10 times more triangles per scene. Like you can look at them in wireframe if you watch the Digital Foundry video, which I've also posted in our Discord. It is amazing. You just look at all the detail that's there and it's like, wow, this is fantastic. And they've made a lot of improvements over id Tech 7, even just for performance from things like id Tech 7 or 6 used something called mega textures, which were like you'd load all the textures at once, very large textures. Everything's basically like a very huge texture. And then as you got closer, it would start loading the textures that are what you needed, like more defined. And you can notice you'd look at something and it'd be blurry, and then all of a sudden it would go less blurry and then load the proper texture. And it just wasn't fantastically performance optimized, and it caused a bunch of issues. And they made it for Rage, but now, or Rage 2, and then now they've got rid of that, and they have a whole lot of other stuff they're doing. I'm not going to dive into it because I'll be talking for a long time about it. But
The rest
basically,
the rest of this episode.
Yeah, the texture streaming tech they have is just it's fantastic how fast they can load everything and how efficient they've made everything from basically what they need to load, like the LOD, or basically like, hey, this is what the player can see. This is all the things you should be drawing or focusing on, and then just do them. And it frees up just so many resources to just churn out so many more triangles that just make everything so pretty. On top of this, the textures themselves are fantastic. The actual, like, when you look around the level, these looks fantastic. And that has to do with they've upgraded a lot of the actual dev tools for the engine. Everything now uses Vulkan, even the designing tools, and they allow you to, in real time, edit everything.
That's so
The
cool.
designers can build the models inside of them, paint them, and then add all the kind of nuanced little details they need to them, which is a whole separate layer that renders, and they can toggle on and off. If you watch the video, you'll see like basically the primitive stuff and then all the extra details they can add just directly in the engine. And then just being able to allow the designers to just paint and texture and map and layer directly inside in real time is just, it shows. It just allowed them to just take this to a whole other level and make it just absolutely gorgeous. And then the other thing was the gore system they added.
Oh my god,
Keeping
it's
that
so good.
performance optimal is fantastic. Basically, they have
the fact that it still performs while doing that.
Yeah, basically they have like multiple layers, like code layers for these models, and then when you shoot them or hit them, you're basically just chipping away at these layers, and it culls like the top layer, shows the bottom layer, and it goes through there. And it's, I won't go into details, but like it's the way they've done it has just made it so efficient that basically you can have a shit ton of things on screen, blast a shotgun into them, and half of them can gib, and it won't just slow your machine down. As most people will know, when you're playing games and you start kind of getting splatter and particle and gore effects, especially in like large crowds, you'll just see your performance drop to like abysmal frame rates. But I haven't dipped at all. I've been running on like 1440p at 144 frames plus my entire experience, and it's just been buttery smooth. And I'm just blown away of what they've done. If you're interested in more in this, I'll stop here. But if you're interested in more in this, watch the video I posted. Digital Foundry does a fantastic job of going over it and not too technical of terms. You can still appreciate what's going on if it's not your background. But they definitely deserve like some sort of awards, or at least a round of applause for like what they've achieved with this engine. It is just.
And I want to bring up just one other thing. The compression that they're using for this engine is mind-blowingly good. Like the fact that the game is only 40 gigs. It's only 40 gigs. New COD came out not too long ago. 120 gigs plus. You know, other good-looking games that have come out recently, 100 to 150 gigs. They're huge. This game is 40 gigs. It looks better and runs better than most of them due to compression and decompression techniques combined with how good the texture streaming in the new engine is and how well compressed the textures are. Like the 5700 XT that you and I both have, Deus, and I think Pseudo you well.
Yeah, has it's probably his other system that he's doing the 144 frames for.
Yeah, that's on my yeah.
They have an 8 gig frame buffer, 8 gigs of VRAM, and the fact that they can pack like even the ultra nightmare level textures that are like frankly more than you need for anything other than a 4K panel into that safely is incredible. Like when I'm running the game at 2560 by 1440, I'm hovering between 100 and 130 frames with ultra nightmare textures on and everything else on ultra. Like that's insane. This is a mid-level GPU.
Yeah, so I basically set the wording to Tech 7 sets a new bar for engines. If there was something above good, we would give it that, because I can't really go into full details in this little thing, and I think that says everything you need to.
One quick fun little side note, this game is smaller than Doom 2016.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
The compression is so good. I just punched my microphone stand. That's how
a big part of it. A big part of it is they stepped away from mega textures, and mega textures were huge, large files, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have those anymore, so everything's smaller, easier to access files. So then, of course, like trying to compress one large file and then uncompress it is a huge task, but having a bunch of smaller files compressing and uncompressing is just a lot easier to work with, and of course faster with their streaming. And it's just amazing that it's just hilarious that it's smaller than the previous game, but just has so much more content and texture, and it's just it's great. It's nice to see that someone at least still cares a little bit about disk space in this world of never ending 150 gig games.
Yeah, developers take note for sure. It is a new bar, and let's just give a quick applause to id, because this company is the same company that made the first Doom, and that game revolutionized FPS engines. How many times has this company revolutionized the FPS world?
At least 4.
How many companies can you say this about, right? Like that's at least twice. You mean the 2 I just named is what you can count. There's also Quake 2. Is that one of the ones you were thinking? OG Doom, Doom 3? Oh, they also did Quake, right? Quake 2 was
And I'm just talking about the Doom series.
Yeah, I'm talking id, period. So there's at least 5 now, because you can put Quake 2 in there.
Yeah, Quake 2 was amazing.
That was the first full 3D FPS engine, and that started the being able to aim up and down, which, let's not argue, that's revolutionary in a shooting game.
Absolutely. Although you and I do still disagree on whether or not that's so essential to shooters that you can't call some of the OG Doom games like some of the greatest shooters of all time.
They were at greatest of their time. I'll say of their time.
I just don't think aiming up is that important.
Animations, good.
Yeah, good.
I haven't seen anything kind of like glitch out and get stuck in animations. I have had.
Well, let's include the gore system in the animation.
Yes, the gore system is mind-blowingly cool.
It's by far the best experience I've ever had with shooting something in a game.
Yes.
I shoot something and chunks come out of it, and that's what should happen.
I mean, like, this may be a little excessive on the chunks, but at the same time, I love it.
on some of the weapons, but not really. Like the shotguns it'll take an arm off if you're shot in the right place. They put a big fucking hole.
Yeah, but I've also had instances where I just catch them at the right angle with, I don't know, the heavy gun, the heavy assault rifle or something.
Oh yeah,
to that effect, and it's just
sploosh.
Like their entire side just goes.
It could be explosive rounds.
It sometimes oversteps itself for realism, but I also love it. So
yeah, no, it shouldn't be absolutely real. I agree, but it is actually more real than the ones where you get shot and see a pff, and then they fall over.
Or Call of Duty, where you can just shoot people's limbs off with a pistol.
GoldenEye has the best aiming. No, it doesn't.
That is a hot take.
That is an I'm bored opinion, is what that is. The gore system is amazing. The animations are clean and smooth.
Very little getting stuck in states.
Very few state transition issues.
Destiny 2 has the best aiming because it does it for you.
Yeah, I know you're joking. I know you're always joking. That's what an I'm bored opinion is. It's when you're giving a joking opinion where people respond like, "No, don't do that." Don't worry, buddy. I know you.
We got you, fam.
Style good.
It took me a while to get used to it. I wanted it to not be as much of a throwback as it is initially. But visual style, like everything is just so clean and clear and easy to identify, and you know exactly what you're fighting, except for the teleporty guys that look really, really like imps for some reason.
Yeah, the purple, the stalkers. That's what they're called.
Yeah,
I hate those guys. Just
those
use a
guys
rocket
look
launcher.
almost exactly like imps, which is weird.
One quick rocket launcher salvo kills them. Quick lock on. Done.
Or the explosive rounds on the shotgun, you just chunk chunk.
Really? 2 of them?
Yep.
I thought they always lived through that for me. I'll try.
No, 2 of them should put them in a staggered state.
Okay. I'll watch that next time. I still just rocket launcher them.
They're just as dead.
Yeah, my only complaint about any of the style in the whole game is I preferred the old Mancubus to the normal Mancubus.
Yeah.
That's about all I really have to complain about. I like the Cyber Mancubus in this.
Yeah, the Cyber Mancubus or Mancubi, I guess.
Mancubi, yeah.
In this look fantastic.
Yeah. So your guys are good with it, good?
Yes.
Yes.
Everything is clean and identifiable. everything is consistent. It is a nice throwback look. My only complaint is a personal one. I do not like the new Mancubus model.
I'd also like to just put in a little note about the use of color in Doom Eternal. A lot of people have said that there's too much color, it's too bright, it's too much of a divergence from Doom 2016. And initially I did agree with that. I did think that it was too much of a divergence, but this game is significantly faster than Doom 2016, like significantly. And the use of color makes it much easier to grok all of those things while you're running the game as fast as you can.
Good. I took out my personal opinion because who fucking cares about my personal opinion?
Yeah, a lot of people have been complaining about the colors. I would say go play it. You need them.
Yeah. I like them. I like this color. Like there's something else besides just red and gray.
Yeah, I thought it's been lovely. I mean, they're still mostly red and gray. There's just other things here and there, and the colors make sense for where they are. It's not like they're just throwing color in willy-nilly to make things pink and purple. Things are colored appropriately and realistically, identifiably. Like the green is used to tell you your path. If you're complaining about the green, well, that's just them telling you where to go. Musical score good.
I think there's
I have a complaint about the music. I'm not going to argue that it's not good, because it is better than like 95% of games. But I don't like it as much as Doom 2016. I feel like it's a little bit more like synthesized and industrial rather than like the ripping and tearing metal. And I don't like it as much.
They have ripping and tearing metal during like a boss fight and some of the crazy encounters, but then the more ambient music, depending on the zone, does get more industrial and or synthy. I'm not a big synthy fan. I am a big industrial fan. I don't mind the synthy times because I find it suits the area that it's in. It fits the game. Might not be my personal taste in music, but it does make sense for the area.
I agree. This is just me getting my opinion out there because I've been sitting on it for a while, because I really do love Mick Gordon's work. I think he's fucking phenomenal. But like, imagine some of the more synthy industrial bits like replaced with BFG Division instead.
I think the synthy / industrial fits better, and I actually really enjoy the industrial bits because I'm a big industrial fan, so I'm probably happy with the industrial bit.
I think regardless of the personal taste on things, I think it does suit the theme of the game very well. At least the musical score, it's very intense when things are intense. Yes. And it's still very, even when things aren't intense, it still gives you the overall feeling of like, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. Shit ain't good. It's kind of fucked up, but it's still still feeling action packed.
Yes. It's always pacing you. The music's never like giving you a feeling that you should sit around and enjoy and relax. But at the same time, the intensity is definitely to a level above in combat that you know if there's demons around just based on listening to the music.
And then it gets you pumped up and you want to go chainsaw them, and then you realize that that demon is too big for the amount of chainsaw fuel and you have, and you die.
Yeah. Keep our opinions out of the review. They can watch the video if they wanted to know what we thought. Where did I just put that?
I think you just selected it all and hit space.
Totally did.
Rip and tear the text.
Rip and tear the review. Rip and tear. All right. Voice acting. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't say there's anything phenomenal about it.
There's not a lot of it. There's not enough of it to be good, but it's not a drama. They're not delivering heartfelt emotional pleas. They're begging for their life for 10 seconds before Doomguy cuts their head off, or rips their head off, or blows their head off, or explodes their head off, or steps on their head, crushes it.
Yeah, it's definitely very limited by the writing, since there isn't too much. So like probably just I can write that down. But like, for what there is, for what written parts there are, what is voiced, it's good. It does, or it's okay. It does what it is supposed to do. It can't really be a good since there isn't that much of it, and it's not really like a big focus of it. But I mean,
Yeah.
they did the job. It's definitely, you're not listening to it and being like, okay, I can't stop thinking about like how bad this person's voice is, or how you lose the emotion. So it's they did an okay job on it, passable job.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's not Two Worlds.
Yeah, it's just fine. It is just fine voice acting.
Sound effects are good, though.
Yes.
Yes.
Sound effects are definitely good. The heavy assault rifle, oh my god, it sounds so satisfying. The demons sound great. The headshot noise is amazing. Like the little pop the cork noise, so good. I love the indicators that they have for your secondary fires. Like you'll get a little boop when the arbalist is ready.
Yep.
You get like reloading sounds when your grenades come back on your primary shotgun. You get a little beep when your lock-on is ready for the rocket launcher. Just the sound design and sound effects in this are truly above and beyond.
We do love that cork pop headshot.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Oh, I can't do it. My lips are too dry. Accessibility is good. I remember seeing even colorblind options and everything in there. There
are lots of colorblind options. Control rebinding, the ability to set. I don't remember if it has profiles for colorblind options.
There was lots of different options under colorblind. Like you check it and there was like 4 or 5 things under there. I didn't look at what they all do. I was just like, whoa, that's more than I've ever seen before. And that deserves a good, just right out of the gate on the colorblind side. But then I saw proper subtitling and yeah.
Subtitling, they've got the ability to adjust volume levels individually if you're having a hard time hearing certain things. FOV slider.
Yep.
What else? I can't think of anything else that I would want. I'm sure I'm missing out on some things, but
I'm sure. Oh, there was even a mouse inversion.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Which would also apply to controllers and stuff then. And I don't ever recommend playing this game with a controller. Unless you want to die over and over and over and over in the first level.
The game is too fast for that.
So I pulled it up here quickly, and yeah, they have a lot in here, even just down for like the Sentinel armor. So like if you're having trouble with the game, it can even assist you if needed, because unfortunately some people with certain issues won't be able to play it at typical FPS levels. So that's nice to have. They have everything from weapon bob to screen shake to aim assist. They have aim assist that you can add. They have the multiple colorblind rendering modes. The point of those are that there's different types of colorblind that people experience, like from different colors they can't see. It's nice that they support all of them. And you can even customize the intensity, strength, contrast, and brightness of them, which is way more settings than I've even seen. And it's
exactly what my experience was. I didn't remember them all, but I looked at them and went, wow, I've never seen that many in my life. Like, I didn't even know there were this many options. Mechanics.
I have a bone to pick with certain things in here.
We all do.
Yeah, I appreciate the platforming, but my god, the invisible walls are just the
Yeah.
It is just the one thing you don't put in a platforming game is invisible walls.
Yeah, I've died more than a few times to invisible walls. And so my thoughts on what they were thinking, and this is the only way I can logic it. The only way I can logic it is that you can move so fucking far with Doomguy in one leap. Like ridiculous levels of clearance of space, right? And we love this about it. It gives it some great control. But when you go to design a level and you're trying to make it clear where the player should go, if you're keeping everything where he shouldn't go far enough away in the view distance so that the player doesn't try to go there, you end up creating a bunch of little islands for the player to play on. You follow what I'm saying? So you've either got an ocean between you and the next thing you can see, or a literal wall. So now you're playing in like a city and you can't see anywhere and there's no view. And so I guess I'm thinking what they were going for is let's use the invisible wall. So if they try to do it, they're not just gonna fucking kill themselves because we want to have this view space and pan out here. I can kind of logic it this way, but I still don't like it. Not saying it's a good thing. I don't like it.
My take from it was since the game is so fast and action paced and you are kind of jumping around a lot, they're in a lot of places, I guess, where they didn't want the person to jump off by accident and then fall and die in lava because like a lot of the edges and stuff, but it isn't really an excuse to have invisible walls. So I guess they just didn't want to have like too tall of actual viewable walls there. I think probably why, because there are a few times where I go to try to jump over something, or I'm on like a platform and then I hit the invisible wall, and I'm like, oh, I could totally see myself like jumping back from an enemy and just launching myself off an edge. And maybe in playtesting near the end, it came up that a lot of people didn't like that because they kept, jumping around and falling off edges, and they're quickly just like, okay, well, we need to, fix this, but the levels are already made, so we can't redesign all the levels. So maybe that's why it got shoved in. It's not really an excuse, though.
It's not an excuse. It's a lack of foresight. It creates a poor experience, and I get what you're coming at there, but my experience with the walls has been such that they make me go into the lava. I'm going from here to here because it looks like that's where I should be going, and partway through, oh no, that's an invisible wall. I'm not supposed to go this way. Sputter, 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 dead. Yeah. I'll still give it an okay.
I haven't had that experience. I have definitely had the experience of jump, hit the invisible wall. Oh god, double backdash, and then it's fine. But I am not okay with an okay for this game. That is one problem. Yes,
because my argument was going to be that the other aspects of it feel so goddamn.
No. Other way, it's a good. The shooting mechanics are hands down the best I've ever seen. You have such variety in your secondary weapons. All of the mechanics around being able to glory kill, being able to punch other monsters into monsters, using the chainsaw, using the flamethrower, using your grenades, having a variety of grenades. Like, I can't give this game anything but a good.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You're going the other way, really. I don't like the lack of ammo, which they're doing to try to push the chainsaw to be used more. But initially I was frustrated by it, but now that I've played more of the game, I love it and I wish more games did it. Here's what I would change. And it's a simple change because they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Okay, so Pookie, while you're playing the game, if you get an enemy almost dead, like say within 10, 20% of dead, they'll stop and they'll stagger and they'll kind of move around and their whole character will glow. And if you get close to them and press a button, you'll enter a special kill animation where you break their tooth off and stab them in the eye with it or something ridiculously gory like this. One of them, you have this big blade that extends in your arm and you stab them in the mouth, through the head, into the eye, and push their eye up off of their head and sever it this way and then bring it back down. There's just some great ones. Yeah.
It's ridiculous and I love it.
Yeah. I agree the shooting is absolutely phenomenal, but I don't even like the platforming. Feels great. It was well done platforming, but I hate the inclusion of it because it just gets in the way of the fantastic shooter mechanics, which really was what made Doom 2016 so phenomenal, was its narrow focus. And I felt I had a lot more time of just, okay, what am I doing? I'm jumping on panels, I'm running around my ship, there's no demons, just let me shoot something. I wanted more action.
I liked the platforming. I agree there are big problems with the invisible walls. I liked the inclusion of it because it's something that is a throwback to the older Doom games, specifically Doom 1 and 2. And it's never like, it never interferes with you in your fights. It's between fights. It's a little teaser while you get to the next arena.
Yeah, I found them to be nice little additions between the two, rather than just having like nonstop intense action, which can really kind of drain you out. It's been nice that they're like, okay, I've done this, and then now since it has platform mechanics, it opens the door for a lot of puzzles they can add, so you can still kind of work your brain and not just be mindlessly running into the next room of enemies. You kind of turn around like, oh, there's a secret here, and now I have to use my platform mechanics to try and find out where that secret is. And I've also found it to be a nice addition to combat. Where like you'll go into one of the arenas and you're like, okay, well, there's a pole in the middle, so now I know I can vault between these two platforms and kind of kite this big bad guy around. And the dashing while strafing has just been, it feels more like Quake. It's kind of nice. It's like a nice blend of Doom and Quake, where you're just constantly jumping around in the air, just shooting down at things, moving around. I've quite enjoyed it.
I love the inclusion of the platforming elements, like the monkey bars and stuff, in the combat arenas, where you're flying around with it and dashing through the air, and not only the fact that they have these in there, but if you're playing on a high enough setting and you're not using them, you're just gonna die.
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to bring up. Was looking around and playing around with a little bit. I haven't really run too much issue with the ammo stuff, because I figure, from what I found on the higher difficulties, I guess their assumption is that you are going to utilize everything you've got.
Yeah.
And I guess the point of it is, if you're on a higher difficulty, you should be good at everything and know how to use everything, and they give you enough kind of weapons to balance between it. So like I'll be like shocking for thinking close, and then jump and dash in the air, pull up the sniper rifle and try to pick off something in the back, or shoot one of those spider demon things in the gun. And then by the time you can burn through all the ammo of your guns, your chainsaw will be ready again. You go through it. Same with your flamethrower and your grenade. You can kind of time those cooldowns around the same time, and it just never slows down. I found that it was an adjustment at first, but I found that it's a neat addition to the just like mindlessly being like, this is my favorite gun, I'm just going to use my one gun, and then just one gun pony the whole thing. It forces you to be like, well, if you're going to use that gun and you miss a shot or two, you're not going to have the ammo that you're going to need.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I sort of had a criticism with in Doom 2016, is the way I played that game. Once I got the super shotgun, I never needed another gun.
They do definitely needed. But even if you had enough ammo to use the gun as much as you wanted in this game, the enemy's natural resistances and weaknesses push it such that you will be changing your gun. Going to happen. You need multiple weapons to get through an encounter.
And also multiple weapon mods. I found that I've had to hot swap between the grenade launching and the shotgun, auto shotgun, quite a bit.
At the beginning.
You have to grenade launch the Kako demons, and then the auto shotgun has just been like super strong against just absolutely everything else. It's been good.
Absolutely early game, your auto shotgun is your main source of damage.
As you get further in the game, you will be hot swapping weapon mods less.
Yeah, I never do it
predict
anymore.
that.
I now have, I only use the grenade launcher on the shotgun. The auto shotgun's damage output just doesn't matter when you've got like turret mode chain gun.
Oh my god, it deals so much damage.
Turret pops out like, hey man, you don't need this ammo, right? Okay, so my complaint on the chainsaw, and here I like chainsawing big things sometimes as well. It's fun. Right now, if you get a single chainsaw fuel, it's fucking useless because you're just going to end up chainsawing the next little thing you see and being back down to one, not going to get any more. Keep blowing the ammo through, you use another chainsaw, you're back down to 0, you're waiting for it to refresh. It's essentially just picking off little things is all you ever do with it. So what I would do is I would take the bigger demon cost from 3 fuel to 2 fuel so that when you do find one of your fuel canisters, you can actually do something cool with it, take out one big guy, and if you save up to 3 somehow, then you'll have 1 in reserve and you're basically back down to being at 1. You're not going to be regenning any. The only added benefit you have is you don't have to take that regen time. You've got the ammo.
Yeah,
I think it makes it more playable.
I would like a little bit more balance around chainsaw ammo, chainsaw fuel, I guess. It would be neat if when you got all of the ammo upgrades, you got another chainsaw pip.
That would be great. Yeah, if you had more than 3 pips, that would also... But it's still... No, because you're pushing the pace of the chainsaw so much in the game, right? Your ammo is scarce. You burn through it pretty quick, so you're really forced to chainsaw somewhat often.
I also haven't had chainsaw fuel issues, though.
I've never had issues because that 1 point regens, but you don't tend to chainsaw big things because you don't usually have 3 pips because of the pace, and if you do, you're wasting 3 ammo. You do get more ammo from it, but
from what I can gather from this, it's more of a reward for you not using too much ammo to kill the things around you. If you can manage to not miss and land those headshots and do all that kind of stuff, or use certain weapons correctly and not spend all the ammo just kind of shooting everything up, if you can kind of conserve it a bit, I've found that most of the time I have enough ammo from what's given per arena level that I can save up for the 3 big ones to take out the big boss if I want to. And then, of course, that saves me a lot of ammo if I do that right away because I don't have to spend it on killing him. Or I can just chainsaw the little guys and start spending all my ammo on the biggest. I find it's kind of like that's almost the point of the... If you're really good at conserving ammo, it's a reward of you can now use that to kill the big guy rather than spending all your ammo trying to kill everybody.
That's fair. That's fair. And you do get more ammo from taking them down with it.
But there are also enemies that are just too big to chainsaw, and that makes me a little sad. And I wish that when you got all 4 ammo upgrades, you got an extra chainsaw fuel pip, and now you can chainsaw those guys. That would be amazing.
Everything but the bosses.
They're probably more lenient on it on lower difficulties, is my assumption. I haven't done it yet, but I'm assuming that's probably it. And it's probably like when you're playing at this difficulty, it's like, yeah, the novelty is probably worn off of you wanting just to chainsaw everything. So now it's got to be like a fully, like utilized thing. It's no longer like it's an actual like ability skill that you need to master the timing of and the pace of it kind of thing. Where I'm assuming in like normal, it's just like, yeah, there's fuel canisters everywhere and your ammo is, everywhere, and you can just chainsaw big baddies if you want because it's fun.
Yeah, well, that playing on hard, you should still be allowed to have fun, right?
I'm having fun.
I'm having a great time.
I don't know what you're complaining about.
But I think it's how they need to difficulty ramp it's a good way to difficulty ramp rather than just making things squishier. It's like, all right, well, we can limit how much things you can do. We can limit the ammo you have, and now we'll force you to do, chance on the little guys rather than, chance on the big guys. Because if you put on a super hard difficulty and you have an item that one-shots the big boys, well, that's very overpowered compared to the little guys. So I'm thinking they need to adjust like, well, you can do that, but you better be very damn good at not using all your ammo before having to do that. or the rest
Yeah.
of the fight as well. So I think it's probably why it's there. It's harder to say without actually doing the other difficulties, but I'm assuming that with this harder difficulty, it is just like, yeah, you just have to, master in time and, be very good at all the mechanics that are there.
To be fair,
wanna...
I just want to quickly caveat, to fair and honest, I have found myself with 3 pips of fuel somewhat often, but mostly because I don't think to use my chainsaw, and then I look at my ammo and I have like 3 shotgun rounds and nothing else, and I'm like, oh, this is a problem.
Oh, I know how to solve this.
This is a problem with a solution. Yeah.
I do want to talk about the dashing a little bit as well.
Okay.
I think the dashing is a wonderful addition to combat.
I want to quickly, before you go off, I want to quickly caveat, it's a wonderful addition to combat because they make you use it.
Yes. If it was optional, it would not be quite as good. It would still be fun, but not quite as good. The way that the dashing influences and can be used in a variety of play styles. Like if you're the kind of guy who wants to hang back, you can totally use the dash to get yourself out of trouble, get out of situations that you don't want to be in. You can use the dash to put yourself behind enemies. You can use the dash to escape, to get to another ledge so that you can get over to some other guy to chainsaw him when you're out of ammo, or dash over to a bunch of other things so that you can flamethrower him and kill him. And Deus is holding up a hand.
You can use it to get away from combat?
You could.
Huh, I never thought of that.
That is a thing that you could do.
It's a strategic retreat. I mean, like, they have to put, you can't just, if you could have the play style of just never ending going forward, it could get pretty dull.
Sekiro?
I could see it for such higher difficulties. Sekiro is a little bit different though. Sekiro is more of a 1v1, 1v3 rather than just like an entire room of 20 plus baddies all at the same time. But there's 20 people. Yeah, there's like 20 people in Sekiro. You're usually going to try to take them out one at a time, or unless you're like super god tier. But yeah, so like I find it great. I find I'm not so much like running, but like kiting back and just kind of duking out and constantly flanking them, and with the ability to dash, it's just great. I also just love the ability, as someone who's very impatient and has attention issues in between combat. I love being able just to like push shift and speed up a little bit every second. Just push shift and it recharges so fast. I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm just zooming through things now if I really don't care. I want to go get to the next thing, and it's like go go go. It fits the pace.
Yeah, it recharges fabulously quick. It really does. I admit. Yeah. Okay, I'm with good.
The invisible walls are a problem. I fully acknowledge this. Yeah. But there is so much good in the mechanics of this game.
I was watching it and I didn't get a good feel from like Doom 2016 to this. I'm like, well, how much different can they really do? And I'm actually pretty amazed that they've managed to add so much else that it does feel like a completely different game, and it's still just like fantastic. Like two completely different play styles.
And I find that this game really rewards high aggression. Like really rewards it.
Yes. I found many times where I'm low on life. Shit, I better go kill something. You don't want to run away when you're low on life. You want to get the fuck in there. Like, give me my health!
And then you run up to one of the teleporty guys and you take your little arm blade and you slice him up the middle and rip open his rib cage, and health pops out, and you're just like, ah.
Yep. Harder difficulties. It's an amazer.
To expand on what GlenCon brought up, he said, I liked how the upgrades that grant ammo, health, and the third kind of ability were also tied to, or what he said, were tied to the upgrades. I thought it was neat. And it's really nice because you get to pick your ability upgrade of what kind of player you want to play style, as well as like you can kind of reinforce the areas that you're not so strong on.
Yep.
So like if you're running out of like ammo a lot, if you're running out of health a lot, or let's say you want to, you see the effective armor then you can start, reinforcing those areas and kind of just supplementing, like, oh, I'm finding out, my health is not great, or I'm finding out like ammo's an issue. It's nice that they give you that kind of a choice. It doesn't just like force you too much in a direction. It just kind of allows you to be like, hey, like, you'll just know where you're struggling and you can just plop it right in. You don't have to worry about like what the perfect end game build. It really just is what is your play style, and spend points accordingly.
Yeah. I'd like the first thing I went for was the Blood Fist upgrades. Or the Blood Punch. I love the Blood Punch. The Blood Punch is wonderful.
Those are the only two upgrades I don't have.
I went for those first. Because then I also use the rune that when you kill things with Blood Punch, you get health.
Mm-hmm.
So it just more encouragement to get in there and kill things. Because odds are you've got 2 glory kills already. Like that's probably already set up.
I've actually been in my mind counting my glory kills and trying to remember to glory kill, blood punch, glory kill, blood punch, glory kill, blood punch, glory kill, blood punch. You can just go through combat that way.
Yeah, and it's great.
I have a bad habit so far of forgetting about blood punch. I'm like, glory kill. All right, glory kill. Oh, what the fuck? Where'd he go? Oh yeah, shit, blood punch. Blood punch the like single little enemy guy, just unnecessarily just obliterate him. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I should have used that on the other big guy chasing me.
The other addition, it's okay. You don't need to use it. It's kind of there. Good if to use it. I'm trying to remember to use it more. It's the flamethrower.
Oh, the
I use that
flamethrower
all the
is
time.
actually amazing.
I use it. Armor is fantastic.
I know armor is fantastic. I just always forget to use the damn thing. It's on its own button. Yeah.
There are a lot of buttons in this game,
We'll
and
get
you have
to
to
that.
press a lot of buttons.
I haven't had any bugs. I think you had an early boss bug that was already fixed, where there was some tell missing or something.
Yeah. During a couple of the boss fights, they just didn't do the eye flash tell. Just didn't do it.
Yeah, that would be bad. But I'm still gonna give it a good.
Yeah. There's nothing progress blocking.
Unless you suck at the game.
Yeah, unless you suck, yeah. There's
1
nothing
point
progress
against.
blocking about it.
The game gave Deus the option of taking upgrades that affected Blood Punch before he knew what the Blood Punch was. That's true. I did not have Blood Punch when I got my first upgrade point.
I don't remember if I ran into that or not. It's not always necessarily like a terrible thing.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible, but it is definitely
there
a
are
point
lot of
that's
other
worth making.
Yeah, there are, because there were so many options, and if a player really wanted to, they could be like, "Oh, this blood punch sounds neat," and then just take it. But yeah, I think it would have been weird for them to just kind of gray it out right out of the gate if you are playing like your second run and you know what blood punch is and you just want to max it out right out of the gate. So I think it's just maybe for replayability, they just want to have all the options available so that you can just upgrade it when you want, because you get it really early on.
Yeah, it wasn't very far into the
It's like
game,
the
and it was
first
only
skill.
1 point out of a whole bunch. I could have very easily started putting points into Blood Punch quickly. But it is a valid point that when I made my first decision, I was like, I have no idea what this is. I'm not going to take it.
On for bugs, I haven't had any progress blocking ones, but I've just had a few of the kind of weird kind of animation glitching things that I've done. One of them being is when you chainsaw people, you can change your weapon. Yeah. And you like it's more hilarious because all of a sudden you're now chainsawing this guy while holding a shotgun to his face, and it's just I've got all these arms. I was clicking, I'm like, please let me shoot it at the same time. That'd be fucking hilarious, but unfortunately I couldn't.
Well, I mean, how do you think Doom Guy carries all these guns? Have you seen the size of the BFG?
He's secretly Goro.
Trying to remember the other one was. Oh yeah, I've noticed some minor things where if you have the rifle and you jump to a ledge and you aim at the same time, you kind of just go on the ledge without having to do like the animation for it or any progress delay. And
does it actually
it's not
shorten the time, or does it take the same amount of time?
It only happens if you're like slightly above the ledge, so it's not the full like arm pull up thing, but it's the one where it would kind of interrupt what you can do slightly. But if you aim while doing it, you just basically are just on the ledge and can keep going. But it's not something that really adds to the game if you were to try to abuse it. So it's not really too much of an exploit.
It's not a speed.
It's just like a minor thing. yeah, it's not going to really add too much, and plus you're going to have to be jumping and scoping with a rifle on your ledges while fighting. So it's just a
I mean, that
just a
sounds
little
like something
minor.
a speedrunner would do to save time. It does.
Yeah, but I don't know if it makes it actually too much faster because I know aiming slows you down
Yeah.
when you're walking. So like I'm not sure like overall if it's really something that's tangible. It's just a minor thing that I
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to point out that all of those mechanics that we just talked about for all that time in mechanics, they all were interconnected with each other.
Yes.
That's
All of them.
that's the important part there. That's the main reason it gets good. RNG is good. There is none.
Kind of isn't any, and there kind of shouldn't be any in a fast-paced, skill-based shooter like this.
mean you don't want to roll the dice on your platforming and your shooting.
Oh, you rolled a nat 1. Guess you're falling off this cliff.
It's always fun to make those agile characters. Like, I'm going to do this, complicated task. And I'm like, okay, roll for it. Oh, you rolled a 1. You're going to slip off the edge while you're walking now. Oh, yay.
RNG is so fun.
I'm trying to remember. There's some game that you had like an RNG chance for your reload to take longer and your gun to jam, and it was just the most fucking annoying thing in the world. It was like something they added for like realism, but it was just the not even realism at all. You're just, oh yeah, I'm some trained soldier gonna reload my gun, and all of a sudden I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, oh, I don't know what my gun's doing anymore. I got to take a couple extra seconds to reload, and it was just this worst thing I've ever seen. So I am very happy to not have RNG in my shooting games.
Yeah, it does not belong there at all. RNG, like we say, it should be used sparingly. There's very few places where it actually is meant to be. There's only ever been one game where we gave a bad mark for not enough RNG.
What was that?
Shadow of War. With the orcs.
Yeah.
We wanted more random shit happening. That was one of the coolest parts of the game, and it didn't happen often enough.
Controls?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like you have something to say about this, because I think they're fucking flawless. So I would love to hear any nitpicks that you have.
Well, it could. The main game control is good, but as you've said, there are just too many fucking buttons. I'm sure they could have consolidated.
They could have, but I feel like that would have been an even worse experience.
Possibly?
Once I got the hang of it, it really grew on me because I kind of viewed it as like I also attribute it to the difficulty we're playing on. It's a lot more punishing if you're not using all the controls. So I think that kind of skews things a bit too, where I think you have to be like on top of the flamethrower. And I found that that's what saves my ass majority of the time, especially in Slayer rooms, because there's just so much stuff and you flamethrower and then all of a sudden you just have like a mountain of armor and you're basically good to go. And I found that if I forget to use it, it just punishes me to like no extent. If I have no armor, my health just gets obliterated in like an instant. And I'm like, what the hell would like one shot me? So I think it's just like part of it feels like there's a lot, but once I got used to it, it's basically just, I think about it, thinking, okay, flamethrower, wait for it to be on cooldown. Okay, chainsaw. Okay, my grenade. Okay.
You don't have all the buttons yet. You know that, right?
Yeah. Well, what else am I missing? Because
there's another at least. Okay, so what buttons do you have?
I have left control, grenade. I have flamethrower. I have glory kill. I have.
You were missing 3 additional buttons.
What are the other ones?
There is swap grenade. There's a secondary grenade. There is BFG, and there is
BFG's a weapon. It's on the weapon wheel.
Oh, that's right. It is on the weapon wheel now.
There's sword
and then
button.
There's sword button, which was going to be the third one. So I guess you're missing 2 more buttons.
I guess it doesn't sound like it's that much more as well.
There's a lot of buttons. Like, I want it. There's a part of me in the way that I play games. I want to be able to do it with like just guns. I want to be able to be so good at using the guns that I just do everything with guns. But I also recognize that that's not how this game is designed, and there's a lot of mechanics in the game, there's a lot of systems in the game, and you need to be able to use them to be able to succeed at higher difficulties.
How would you have felt about replacing your chainsaw and upgrading it to the sword? And just getting a more powerful chainsaw, basically. Maybe letting you start chainsaw those higher end guys.
You have not fully explored the sword yet, sir.
No, I have not.
The sword
I've done
is
the
very-
training. I've done the training arena with the sword, where you run around and just kill things with it.
I think the sword is a different mechanic than the chainsaw,
It definitely is. I realize that.
and it should be. I think it should be
Yeah,
separate.
you like it as being a different one? Because when I first saw it, I was like, are they going to upgrade my melee weapon? Because I didn't really see Doom Guy as needing 2 melee weapons.
Well, the way that I've sort of rationalized all the different controls is I've made little like just I guess sayings out of them. Like I'll C for continue shooting and R for armor and grenades.
I never
but
use
it
my
is-
frost grenades. I
Yeah,
just basically
I've
leave it
literally
on
never
frag
used a frost
grenade.
grenade.
And they're actually
I bet
really
they're
good.
really good.
They are, because they just totally freeze the monster in place and let you shoot them.
I bet they're really good. I literally never used them. But I found like just making myself cognizant of those systems made me use them more. Just forcing myself to use them, and it has made future levels much easier.
I'm definitely getting it. The controls, like I'm used to games with a lot of buttons. Okay, this game has a lot of buttons for a shooter. I played MMOs.
Yeah, it's not like StarCraft.
I played MMOs. Nothing compares to an MMO for buttons. You will map your whole fucking keyboard and be like, fuck, where do I put this ability?
And then you know, mouse with 12 buttons on it as well, and then still not have enough buttons.
Check.
But yeah, exactly.
Hey,
I
Raven.
found
Hey,
that
Raven.
the way the game was designed was with all these mechanics in mind, and they definitely weren't like an afterthought. It's definitely like, all right, well, we're gonna go for a fast-paced shooter, and okay, what are we gonna do about ammo consumption? They basically have only a few possibilities. Like, okay, well, either just give them a whole lot of ammo, or like infinite ammo, and we know that that wouldn't be fantastic, or give them ammo drops, but then it's like second nature to them, and that's basically the same thing of having a huge ammo bank because everything drops ammo doesn't take any thought, or just having drops that you have to find all the time. Well, then it takes away from the game because you have to stop, look around, leave, maybe backtrack a little bit to find some ammo drops and then come forward. I haven't seen a game that does it like this, where it's nice, where they give you the control of, they let you control your ammo pace. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of nice that like, it's starting to feel a bit more of like the kind of Souls-like games where it's like, I feel myself getting better of what's happening, and I find the fights get easier, and I'm like, I'm not just going to wait until I'm completely out of ammo to chainsaw someone, because I can get halfway, chainsaw a guy, and then fill my ammo up, and then by the time that I'm running out of ammo again with my pace, my chainsaw will be up again, and I can do it again and kind of control my pace through there. And if I'm noticing I'm using too much ammo, then I can kind of calm down a little bit or try to jump back and use the rifle with the scope a bit more and try to conserve. And I find that like it's put a whole new dynamic to the genre, where before it's just like, most games I don't give a shit what's in my ammo count. Like, I don't even look at it. This is the first game that's made me look at my ammo count, and I can't remember how long. And it's kind of nice, and it's nice that they give the control to the player to be like, all right, well, you want more ammo? Well, you know how to get more ammo. Just go fucking do it. And it's still restricted so that it's balanced, but I find it really cool, and I found that it's nice with everything else that's working, that like they gave all the resources. They basically put resource management in an FPS somehow, and it's been working for me so far. And I know that I don't have everything else, and may get overwhelmed in the future, but I've also been trying to keep in mind that I am playing at the higher difficulty, and that it'll probably be like, I'm assuming that their difficulty is going to be like, well, we gave you all these mechanics, and they don't seem fluff like a lot of kind of other games. They'll just give you a lot of stuff to choose from, and you just find what you like as a personal. They're like, no, this is what's here, and this is what you have to use. Like, do it, kind of a thing.
I
think
agree with you.
the key statement that you made there is that they added resource management, but they put the control in the hands of the player.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the most important part.
Sun's coming down. Yeah, no, and I'm with you, and I loved that, and I'm used to that from Doom 2016 because it was the same idea, sort of. They didn't
Except that
limit
you
you
had
as much
way
on the
more
ammo. Yeah, once you had the ammo upgrades, you never ran out of ammo. But Doom 2016, at the very beginning, you were running out of ammo and swapping weapons before you got your upgrades. So it's just an extension of that mechanic. I'm fully with you. And something we didn't talk about on mechanics while we were on that one, and I would like to touch on, is how they did their difficulties.
Yeah.
Because that was a great change. Because it doesn't, a higher difficulty isn't bullet spongy. It doesn't take more to kill them. They're just meaner. They hate
They try
you.
harder to kill you.
Yep. You want to go into the details? Remember you were telling me a bit about it even.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the way that traditional shooter difficulty works is generally as you go up in the difficulties, they will give you either less ammo or have enemies take more ammo to kill, or a combination of the two. The way that Doom Eternal handles difficulty scaling, which is one of the best instances of difficulty scaling that I've seen, is maybe they make things slightly more difficult to kill. I don't know. I haven't played the lower difficulties. But what they do is as you go up the difficulty levels, enemies actually get more aggressive. They try harder to kill you. They'll start doing their super moves more often. They'll start launching attacks more often. They'll move around more. They'll, be more aggressive about jumping up cliffs and chasing you through the air. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful example of how you should make a shooter difficult.
Target acquisition time is pretty minimal on them too. They see you, they're like, "Oh, I know where you are. I'm firing at you."
Yeah, I think one of the things they do with the higher difficulties is they fire more, which is nice. Yeah, it's just really enforces the get the fuck out of the way and don't let shit hit you kind of eternal. Like you run into a room and there's just so much stuff going on, so much stuff is just going everywhere, and it's just like, holy shit, you feel intense, and then added with the music in the background, it's just you're like a super buff John Wick, just velveting, smoothing around and dodging, deking, flanking, and it's great. Yeah.
It's an absolute extreme of, if you stop moving, you're dead. We've given you all this movement ability. Now we're going to fire everything we have at you to see if you can use it. I got good at moving real fast. That and the second Slayer Gate. The second Slayer Gate is what made me get good at moving.
Because otherwise you just die. You just die really fast.
And it's so long, and you can't die the whole time. They're throwing so much stuff at you, and if you're doing it the first time you get there, you don't have a ton of weapons. You gotta make do with what you got.
And it was very difficult, and I think it was either I think it may just be the first time you die in the Slayer Gate that they prompt you for this, but they prompted me of like, oh, you can come back and do this later once you have more guns and stuff, right? And I was just like, oh no, that's not how this is going down. I'm this encounter.
I'm not a great FPS player. I don't have the history that Pseudo and Rage do. I haven't played them nearly as long, but I'm still going on the hardest difficulty. And man, if you want to get good at these games, play it on a hard difficulty. This game will make you better. You beat those Slayer Gates the first time you see them, you'll be a better player. Rage, just watching me, looked at me playing and went, yeah, this game is fixing a lot of your bad habits. He didn't give me any instruction. I just started playing it and had a modicum of idea of what I should be doing. It reinforced those behaviors by killing me when I didn't do them.
Yeah, you've one of the things that I've noticed is you've really started aiming with your keyboard rather than your mouse, which is great.
Strafing is key. Strafing to win.
Sounds like a good teacher. Yeah, well, I've been getting little inputs from Pseudo and Rage as we go as well, but one of the things we do want to make is getting good for FPSs.
Yeah. The basics of how to play an FPS game, what techniques you need to practice, how you want to apply them.
Yeah, that'll be fun because I'll actually be learning actively in front of everybody while we're teaching you how to learn these things. I think that'd be a great little learning experience.
And I mean, I'm okay at shooters. It sounds like Pseudo has just as much, if not more, experience as I do. So between the two of us, we should be able to get you up to snuff pretty quick.
Sounds good to me. So we're giving it a good in control. And I've never had any question of not giving it a good in control. Don't worry, I was never thinking of not. It does exactly what I want. It does not do exactly what I want it to do every time. It does exactly what I tell it to do every time.
There's a little bit of auto aim on the shotgun grenades, but other than that, like it's pretty flawless.
And I'm honestly okay with that because it's probably a smart grenade. There's a lot of tech in the future.
Future grenades.
Yep. It's like a software compiler. Yep, exactly. That's what a good game should be. A good game should be a software compiler. It does exactly what you tell it to do when you tell it to do it within the bounds of its capabilities. I have to include that one because otherwise Dark Souls would automatically be excluded because if you tell it to attack and then tell it to block, you're going to take a sword to the face.
Yep. We should put a note in there about potentially overwhelming controls just because there is so much to keep track of.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that that's something that's like not as big of a problem on lower difficulties.
I think it's mainly the pace, if I think about it. The key number of keys isn't so overwhelming. It's the number of keys at that pace where you don't have a split second to think about what key you're hitting. You're just hitting that key, hoping your muscle memory is right for that key.
For me, it's mostly been like I find that if I'm not using the flamethrower, I find that it gets very punishing very fast. So I'm assuming it's probably more lenient at those times. It's probably slower overall. Like you said, it's probably the pace is slower. So then players have more of a chance of like, oh, I'm getting hurt. Oh, look, I don't have armor. I guess I should get some armor. So that's my assumption with this. I'm going to make that assumption. I haven't had a chance to explore too much of the lower difficulties, but from what I can tell from how long it takes to kill things on the higher difficulty, I don't see it getting any quicker on the lower difficulties because it's already like pretty quick to kill most of these things. So I'm assuming it's just overall pace and then damage to you and
just
forgiveness of like I'm not using every single mechanic all the time.
Those giant burning demon slayer guys with the swords that chase you around, those things don't die fast no matter what you're firing at them.
Doesn't matter.
You're running.
Fucks you up.
They make you guy run.
And I gotta say, I love the load screen tips in this game because they'll give you like legitimately valuable information most of the time. And then they talk about I forget which enemy type it actually is. Tyrants. They talk about the tyrants, and they're just like, in order to kill a tyrant, you have to shoot it until it dies.
Yep, I remember that one.
I still love its tongue in cheek. I do like how they have certain things where they'll let you like actually use the mechanic before having to actually use it for real, which is kind of nice. And like a lot of games that do that, it feels so tedious and like fucking annoying. But this one, it's like less than 10 seconds for the whole thing and you're good to go. It's like, yep, here you go. This is how it is. Yep, good understanding. Now go do it for real. And it's nice because some games that don't give you that kind of option and they just like, oh yeah, you got unlocked a new thing, good luck. And you're like, all right, well, I'm going to try this. I don't really know what I'm doing and I'm on a harder difficulty. So now I'm just getting wrecked. And I'm like, well, I don't have the time or patience to try to master this mechanic against these hard enemies. So I'm just not going to use it, right? It's nice that they kind of like give you a little bit of a boost being like, yeah, you should use it for this reason. Here you go. And it's like, okay, cool. So I've used it in a safe space and now I can use it for real.
It was a nice touch. I also like the little pop-ups that they give you being like, hey, here's a demon you haven't seen before. This is how you kill it. Yes.
I was a little worried about that at the beginning. I remember voicing that to you about it potentially starting to pigeonhole you. Like, this is this guy's weakness and this is the gun you have to use against it. This is this guy's weakness. And this is because at the beginning with those very first few guns, it was kind of feeling that way. Starting to. But then once you got a wider range of weapons, it really got down to, this weapon does a lot of damage. You can just point it at things and it dies. Good. Multi-purpose weapons. This is great. Yes, just everything's gone. My ammo pool's empty, but everything's gone.
Yeah, specifically turret mode on the chain gun is, do you have a surplus of ammunition and a lot of things that you need dead?
Which is exactly what the auto shotgun starts at the beginning. Got a whole lot of shotgun shells and need to kill something really, really bad? Go ahead and empty them all! Yeah,
it is very satisfying, oh my god.
Yeah, it was. It's a chain gun shotgun is really what it is. The other thing I wanted to bring up, because I don't see it in many games, and this game caters to the high-performance crowd, so I'm glad they did this. They put a necessity to press spacebar to end the load screen.
Yes, I really liked that. I liked that I could, like, finish a level, hit a load screen, walk away and grab a glass of water or something, and not be dead when I came back.
Or get the load screen started and start reading the tip and actually be able to finish it before my NVMe drive loads their tiny, highly compressed game in a split second.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to actually read the tips for a change.
Yep, I am that first world asshole in the game saying, hey guys, can you tell me what that tip said? My game loaded too fast and I couldn't read it. Yeah, I've had people go, oh, that's a weird flex. No, man, I'm not flexing. I'm genuinely asking you what it said. It loaded too quickly for me. Not trying to make you feel inferior here. It sounded like a good tip. I read the beginning, I'm like, oh, this sounds useful. Gone. I want to know. Yeah, that was one of my takeaways. And sometimes it's annoying. And sometimes it's annoying only because I'm a stoner. I'm not paying attention. I'm just sitting here waiting for the level to load forever. Because most games don't do it, and I wish every game did it so that it became habit, so I would pay attention and just hit spacebar instinctively all the time right away, but I don't have that instinct because it's the only game that really does it. There's a couple others, but...
Did do it as well,
yeah,
so that you had a chance to read the little story blurbs on the load screen. But just not something that is as common as it should be.
No, as a great little contrast example, anybody that's been on the channel and following along whenever we play Kakarot, I don't bother reading the story reviews that they do on the load screens telling you what's happened, because when I first started trying, I'd get a quarter of the way through and it would finish loading and just disappear, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm not going to try anymore. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Context.
Yeah, pretty much. So in summary, 3 goods and an okay for Doom Eternal.
And I think that is an accurate representation.
A whole lot of complaining about certain things, but we still ended up giving them goods. But I think more complaining than some people would have expected.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to go back to playing other games, and we're going to be like, you know what? We had it pretty good with Doom Eternal. You know, there wasn't that much. a lot of the stuff we're complaining about is there, but compared to a lot of other stuff that's being put out, it's in the grand scheme of things pretty minor.
100%.
The way I
know. I'm just saying, like, we complained about some things, but like, my God, like I had to think about it at least quite a bit, and there wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's one of those things where we're complaining because we love the game. Because we have spent so much time and energy on figuring out how it works, why it is the way it is, like how intricate all of these little mechanics are.
Yeah, starting to see the web.
Otherwise, it would just be like, yeah, it just kind of sucked.
But it doesn't. I'm just so glad that it's not just a Doom 2016 DLC, because I was kind of worried. And I was kind of worried hearing about some of the stuff that was being rumored about what they were doing, and I was like, "Is this really going to be like how much can they do?" Because for like Doom 2016, I'm like, that is like solid FPS single player shoot 'em up. Like, my God. And then I'm now playing this, like, I don't even know what to call this too much. Like, it's got so much resource management. I'm just happy it's different. I'm just happy that they managed to make it feel like a completely different game, still true to the series, and still super fucking fun. Like, my God.
I agree. And let's end it all by saying I'm okay with leaving in the platforming based on your arguments. Throwbacks to classic Doom, a little bit of a pace slowdown, let you get your breath between action scenes. Fine. But can we agree that the game would be 100% better in every way if we just removed the ship level?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And the invisible walls.
Yeah, and the invisible walls. I would rather let me jump off an edge and die than you stop me from jumping off an edge. Okay, developer?
You jump off an edge and die, that's on you.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
Yeah. Even if I'm just like, can I get to that platform way out there? Nope. That's fine. I've learned. I'm not going to do that again. It's such a better experience to me than going, I'm stuck in the air now and I'm on my feet. Okay, I'm just going to go over here then. You're all of a sudden, yeah, I'm in a game. I'm no longer the Doom guy slaying demons. I'm playing a game with invisible walls.
Yeah. Could do without the invisible walls. Could do without the ship, just in its entirety. Would have really liked to know what the hell happened in between Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. That would have been great. It was weird that they showed Doom Guy's face. That was very weird.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't like seeing his face. Didn't like that part. I wish it was just a visor. It's completely personal. I don't think it affects the game at all, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Especially in the beginning. I can see him maybe at like the end, or as a secret, or some other thing near the end being like, oh, some sort of reveal if there was a story to go along with it. But it felt like a kind of just a cheap mini hype thing. I'm like, this feels like trailer bait to just show a bit of his face. I'm like, okay, he's got green eyes and looks like a dude. Just looks dude. Kind of strange, but people are saying that the purpose of it was so that they can show the resemblance between the Wolfenstein character, because he is supposed to be related. And they're all,
supposedly they're all related to Commander Keen. But
that too, yeah. But it's such a weird thing to like put it in there, but then not, do anything with it. But I haven't beaten the game, so I don't know. Maybe they do at the end, and maybe that was supposed to be some sort of like teaser, foreshadowing or something. But it was just kind of strange. Like, okay, well, I guess I know what I look like or something. And
actually, you know what? You see his face in the first game. Constantly the whole time you're playing it.
Down in the menu.
Yeah, that's true. But
since the reboot and the legacy of the 3D, like the truly 3D Dooms, you don't see his face.
This is true, but we've already talked many times about how this is so much more of a throwback to the original Dooms than any of the previous new Dooms.
Yeah, it's fair. He does look like that, so it was a minor thing, anyways. I mean, it's like you barely got to see it, and then that was it. It was just kind of weird. And hopefully, maybe it's foreshadowing or something. Or I guess maybe it was just a hint to the original, being like, yeah, it's the same guy.
No, you know what it is.
Been at this.
It's Bethesda getting their claws in there, and they're gonna release what happened from Doom 2016 till now as a DLC for you.
Yeah,
Fuck it. I'll play it.
there is DLC planned.
Of course there is. It's Bethesda.
Yeah, Hugo talked about it. I can't remember. He mentioned what it would be about, but I'm assuming there's probably not much happening after this. I'm assuming. I'm not going to spoil anything. I haven't played much, but I'm assuming that probably are either going to be left with probably just prequeling things. So it's probably
the feeling I'm getting towards the end of the game is that there is a lot more universe for Doom Guy to kill.
That's fair.
That makes sense. This is
lot
just
of
one
hell.
Planet.
I hope there's not a crossover to Doom. Crossover to Halo.
Honestly, I'd be fine with that. I would love to play the Halo games, but with Doom's mechanics instead.
Actually, that'd be interesting. That'd be fantastic. Just rip and tear. I want to rip and tear. I'd flood those things.
Ripping and tearing the Covenant. Get some Covenant glory kills. Pull their gun out of their hand and shove it right through the mask and just blow it right through their eyes.
I would down
You just
that.
like punch, like you walk up, Cortana starts talking, you just punch the computer. Like I don't have time for this. Like, let's go.
That was one of my favorite parts of Doom 2016. Right in the beginning, you walk out, you get your suit, and then Hayden starts talking to you, and he's like, "Hey, there's all this demon shit going on," and Doom guy pulls up the monitor and is just like, "Fuck this," and throws it away and goes to kill demons, and it was wonderful.
I did love the pure distilled action of 2016. That's part of what I was a little taken aback by in Eternal was the less distillation towards the action.
Yeah, it's definitely a very different style of game. Definitely very different. It was not what I was anticipating. It was not what I was wanting, but what I got, I think I love just as much, if not more.
Yeah, it's sort of that what you're saying sort of harkens back to the old not having expectations, you know, like any blockbuster movie in the history of blockbuster movies that's been hyped up. It's never going to be as good as your hype in your mind. It's never going to live up to that. Unless it's Bloodborne. But even then, Bloodborne was different than Dark Souls when it came out, and it took a lot of people aback at first.
And then the same deal with Sekiro.
Yes.
Like everybody approaching it like, "Oh, it's by FromSoft. It must be another Souls game." No.
I put a meme into... Oh, wait, I don't think I put it into game memes. I think I just sent it to you. I'll put it into game meme. With the...
No, I think you did. I think
yeah,
it's in there.
talking about how Sekiro will make Dark Souls easier. That was a fucking lie.
It's not very much different. It isn't a kind of a good example of it, of being like Doom 2016. It's like Dark Souls, and then like not exactly like how they are, but I mean like how it's the same maker, similar game, near to its core, but completely different kind of play style and like mechanic availability in it. It's like, yeah, you know, same developer, same kind of feel overall, but like, my God, they play different. And if you play it the same way
very good
as
analogy.
the other ones, you're gonna have a bad time.
Very good analogy, but to make the analogy proper, Doom 2016 is Bloodborne. Doom 2016 was faster. Although I guess the movement...
Strongly disagree.
I guess the movement brings it, but the Doom 2016 was less doing other things than action and killing. Yeah.
It was more focused.
That's fair. That's fair. The movement, the extra movement makes the game feel so much faster.
And I feel like they throw more demons at you in this game than they did in 2016.
Absolutely they do. Because you're able to move so fast, dodge so much, and kill so much.
Yep. Both excellent games. Both like vying for number one for my current favorite shooter. I honestly couldn't say which one would be my number one right now. Couldn't pick one.
So, how are we going to wrap this up? We're pretty much at time. We can go play Doom again now.
Yay!
So, summary, TLDR, if you haven't watched the whole review and you're just zooming to the end to figure out how good the game is, just go buy it.
Buy it. Play it. It's amazing. It's worth full release price.
Do it.
So yeah, all three of the panel. Buy it. Anybody else have anything to say? Nobody's had their opinions. Has anybody gotten to play it in chat? Does anybody have anything to comment? Does anybody disagree? I didn't see any disagrees.
We had Raven hopping in with some comments on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the essence of it is, I agree with Raven. I don't like the soundtrack as much as Doom 2016's, but it is still phenomenal and excellent for the game that it's been that it has been applied to. And Mick Gordon is a genius.
That was basically what we said at the time. Yeah, that sums it up. Like I said, I like industrial, so I like the new soundtrack. There's a lot of times where I'm like, this is a Nin remix. I'm good with this. He wrote a Nin remix. Cool. Eternal's going to be after Sekiro? Yeah, you have got some quality gaming ahead of you, sir. That is quite an experience. Quite an experience. All right.
And if at all possible, do try and play Eternal on PC.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be much easier on PC.
I've been looking through like the PC for spec wise, and I think low spec gamer is probably going to have an amazing video on this, because Doom gives you a lot of console commands and you can turn off a lot of their extra stuff. It's like the Digital Foundry guys are going through and showing the examples by doing it in the console. So it might be nice that they give you more than what the settings can disable. So let's say if you're on low and you need to go lower, you can go in and just turn off like a lot of the pipeline stuff and squeeze out a little bit more frames if you need, even though everything will look like super smooth with no detail. At least it'll run. So it's kind of nice that those are technically available to the player. Probably not supported or recommended, but at least someone can go through and, you know, give you a few commands being like, hey, if you have these specs, run these commands in the console and you should be good to go, which is kind of nice, rather than just, you know, hiding all of that behind dev tools.
Not supported or recommended is keywording there. Keywording. Very important. But yeah, sounds like it'll be possible. So that was a lot of fun. That was a full 2 hours just on Doom Eternal, diving into the mechanics. Hope you guys learned something about the game, about its details, about how interconnected these mechanics really are, and how nuanced the game actually is to play. You don't get all that when you're watching us play it, but man, there is some nuance to this game. So sorry?
I'm going to say, yeah, because I was watching you play it for a while, and I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And I started playing it myself, and I'm like, okay, yeah, holy shit, like this is a completely different ballgame when you actually play the game rather than...
Yeah, definitely play it before you make any judgments.
And like we had Rift kick in yesterday when you were playing Deus, and he had some very valid concerns about like the aesthetic and how things fit together visually. But I think once he gets a chance to play the game, he will be just as enthralled as all three of us.
I don't see anybody playing it and not enjoying it. I don't. Unless you just don't like killing things. Which there are some people that play games like that out there.
Maybe you don't like fast-paced, high-action shooters. Maybe that's not your thing.
Even I'm not a massive fan of them, but even if they're like a moderately interesting concept to you, you're probably going to love this game. If they're not at all interesting to you, Animal Crossing just came out.
Yeah, you can play the Animal Crossing.
Great. I've been playing it. It's very weird to jump between Animal Crossing and Doom. Go from just doing chores to rip and tear, and they're both fantastic, but they're completely different opposite sides of the spectrum. It's
killing demons is still a chore.
I love the sort of crossover that the internet has been doing recently, where Doom guy's like running around in Animal Crossing helping people, and Isabel's got her super shotgun and she's slaying demons.
We have that GIF in our Discord if you're wondering what he's talking about. Come on in and check out the Game Meme channel. You'll love it. I absolutely am going to be streaming after the panel. I'm going to get back to Doom Eternal, and I'm hopefully going to finish it tonight. I'll just go and go and go. I don't work tomorrow or the next 3 days, and I've still got a fridge full of Red Bull, and I only woke up at 4 p.m. today? Yeah, like 4 p.m. 2 p.m. 2 p.m.? Yeah, something like that. I haven't been up for that long. I have to eat some food after this. So, in order for us to be able to go back to what we were doing and get into Doom, we have to do the closing. So thank you very much for joining Games by Design this afternoon, evening. I am Deus.
I am Rage.
And I'm Pseudo.
May all of your shots be headshots.
Especially on point for Doom Eternal.